Today, we're diving into the story of Kenya's first 5 presidents. We'll explore their leadership, their impact, and how each shaped the nation's journey. From Jomo Kenyatta to William Ruto, this overview sets the stage for understanding Kenya's political history and its evolving identity. Let's get started. Let's start with Jomo Kenyatta, Kenya's first president. Born in 1897, he lived through a time of great change. Kenyatta led Kenya from being a British colony to becoming an independent nation. First as Prime Minister in 1963, then as President from 1964 until his death in 1978. His leadership shaped the country's early years and set the foundation for its future. Jomo Kenyatta was married 4 times and had 8 children in total. His first wife, Grace Wahu, gave him 2 children, Peter Muigai and Margaret Wambui. With his second wife, Edna Clark, he had 1 son, Peter Magana. His third wife, Grace Wanjiku, had a daughter named Jane Wambui. Finally, with his 4th wife, Mama Ngina, he had 4 children, including Uhuru Kenyatta, who later became President of Kenya. This family shaped much of Kenya's history. Jomo Kenyatta played a crucial role in Kenya's journey to independence. He led the negotiations at the Lancaster House Conferences, steering the country toward freedom from British rule. He also promoted national unity with the motto Harambee, which means pull together, a call for community spirit and cooperation. Politically, he helped unify the nation by negotiating the peaceful dissolution of a rival party, creating a stable government. Economically, he championed capitalism, helping Kenya become one of Africa's most dynamic and stable economies after independence. Let's look at some key developments that shaped Kenya's path. First, agricultural growth. The focus was on boosting cash crops like tea and coffee, strengthening the farming sector. Then, Africanization, shifting trade and land ownership to indigenous Kenyans, keeping control out of non-citizens' hands. Social expansion came next, with major investments in education and healthcare across the country. Diplomatically, Kenya aligned with the West during the Cold War. Finally, it joined important international groups like the OAU and the Commonwealth, fostering regional cooperation. Let's take a closer look at Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, Kenya's 2nd president. Born in 1924, he lived a long life, passing away at 95 in 2020. Moi served as president for an impressive 24 years, from 1978 to 2002. That makes him the longest-serving president in Kenya's history. His time in office shaped much of the country's modern political landscape. Understanding his tenure helps us see how Kenya evolved during those crucial decades. Let's take a look at Daniel Moi's family, his wife, Lena Moi, and their 8 children. They had 5 sons and 3 daughters, each with their own story. From Jennifer, the firstborn daughter, to Gideon, the youngest son who's also seen as the political heir. There's also June, who was adopted and raised in the family. This slide gives us a glimpse into the personal side of a public figure, showing the family ties that shaped him. Daniel arap Moi's political legacy is marked by 3 key achievements. First, he maintained national stability during a fragile post-independence period, promoting peace, love, and unity through his philosophy called Nyayo, footsteps. Then, in 1991, he responded to growing pressure by ending the single-party system, opening the door for multi-party democracy in Kenya. Finally, he championed regional diplomacy, helping to revive East African cooperation and laying the groundwork for the East African community we know today. During his administration, there was a major push to expand education and infrastructure. Schools, training colleges, and universities like Moi University grew rapidly, reaching more people than ever before. At the same time, roads and rural development projects spread across the country, connecting communities and boosting growth. On the diplomatic front, he kept strong ties with Western nations through the Cold War, securing crucial foreign aid. This helped position Kenya as a stable and important diplomatic center in East Africa. Daniel Moi's presidency had some serious shortcomings that shaped Kenya's political landscape for decades. He turned KANU into a single-party state, banning opposition until the early 90s. Human rights abuses were rampant. Activists and critics faced arrest, torture, and detention without trial. Free speech was stifled, with censorship and restrictions on the press and public gatherings. The Q voting system replaced secret ballots, making elections vulnerable to intimidation. Cronyism and tribalism flourished, as loyalty to moi outweighed competence or fairness. This was power deeply entrenched in patronage. Let's take a moment to remember Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki, Kenya's third president. Born in 1931, he lived a full life until 2022, passing away at the age of 90. Kibaki led the country from December 2002 to April 2013. His presidency marked a significant chapter in Kenya's history, a time of change and development that shaped the nation's path forward. Let's take a moment to look at Mwai Kibaki's family. He was married to Lucy Kibaki, and together they had 4 children. Their firstborn and only daughter is Judy Wanjiku. Then there's Jimmy Kibaki, the eldest son. David Kagai is another son, who's known for keeping a low profile, away from the public eye. Finally, the youngest son is Tony Githinji. This family shaped much of Kibaki's personal life behind the scenes. Let's take a look at some of Mwai Kibaki's key political achievements. He jump-started Kenya's economy, boosting growth from a sluggish 0.4% in 2002 to nearly 7% by 2007. He also widened access to financial services, setting the stage for innovations like mobile money. Before his presidency, he served a long tenure as finance minister, earning praise for careful fiscal management. One of his landmark initiatives was launching free primary education, which enrolled over 1 million kids right away. He also improved healthcare and public services, making a real difference on the ground. Let's look at some key achievements in Kenya's development journey. First, major transport projects took center stage, from rehabilitating roads through the Roads 2000 program to building the iconic Thika superhighway. Then, telecommunications and energy sectors saw modernization and heavy investment, boosting public infrastructure. On the political front, the 2010 Constitution brought groundbreaking reforms, devolution, a Bill of Rights, and strong institutional checks. And going back further, the groundwork was laid with the 1962 Independence Constitution and leadership in KANU's early days. Let's take a moment to focus on Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, the third president of Kenya. Born on October 26, 1961, he played a significant role in the country's recent history. He served as Kenya's 4th president, holding office from 2013 until 2022. His tenure was marked by efforts to drive economic growth and promote national unity. Understanding his leadership helps us see the broader political landscape of Kenya today. Let's take a closer look at Uhuru Kenyatta's family. He's married to Margaret Gakuo Kenyatta, who served as Kenya's First Lady from 2013 to 2022. Margaret was born in 1964, with roots that blend Kenyan and German heritage. They married in December 1989 in Nairobi's Holy Family Basilica. Together, they have 3 children: their eldest son, Jomo Kenyatta Jr., their younger son, Jaba, also known as Muhoho or Njamba, and their only daughter, Njina Kenyatta. Family plays a key role in their story. Let's take a look at some of Uhuru Kenyatta's key political achievements. He transformed transport networks, building over 11,000 kilometers of tarmacked roads, the Nairobi Expressway, and the Standard Gauge Railway. Ports like Mombasa and Lamu also saw major upgrades. On energy, millions more homes got connected to electricity, and nearly every public school is now powered. He also pushed Kenya's devolved system, sending funds directly to counties for local projects. Plus, government services went digital, making things like passports and licenses easier to access online. Let's look at some key initiatives that shaped this agenda. First, the Big Four, a strategic plan targeting manufacturing growth, universal healthcare, affordable housing, and food security. These 4 areas are pillars for sustainable development. Next, free maternal health care, a vital step to lower maternal deaths by making maternity services accessible in public facilities. Finally, regional mediation, active involvement in peace efforts through the East African Community and African Union. even stepping into formal mediation roles in conflict zones like the Democratic Republic of Congo and the Horn of Africa. Let's take a closer look at Kenya's fourth president, William Kipchirchir Samoei Arap Ruto. Born in 1966, he's been serving as the country's president since September 2022. Before that, he was the first elected deputy president, holding that role for nearly a decade. His leadership marks a significant chapter in Kenya's political history, building on years of experience in government. To wrap up, we've learned about William Ruto's family life. He married Rachel Chebet Ruto back in 1991. Together, they have a blended family with 7 or 8 children, a mix of biological kids and an adopted daughter. This glimpse into his personal life rounds out our understanding of the man behind the public figure.